Hello, welcome everyone to the beginning of the continuation of basically of season two of Breaking Bread with Lavelle Voyage. I am one of your hosts, one of the hosts that is actually bringing you a lot of positive and influential resources to the screen. My name is Corey Arbaio. I am one of the hosts and creators of Breaking Bread. And I just wanted to say a few things before we kick things off. First of all, I want to thank you all for the support, the people that have joined the Breaking Bread, uh, I guess, groupie. Some the people that have followed us and supported us from day one. We are getting close to our 1 year anniversary, and we'll be talking about that later on. But I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. One of the main messages, again, that I want to instill in our viewer and just let our viewer know that Breaking Bread, we are here on a mission to create a positive resources for you, for the viewer, and we are celebrating and supporting the minority, the small family-owned entities. So if that includes, if you're talking about the BIPOC and the LGBTQ, and also most one of the most important is the women entities, women led entities of our industries today. And that could be in many realms, whether it's sports or if you're talking about wine or if you're just talking about business in general. We're all about supporting these entities. And we're going to continue to strive until instead of we call it minority until it becomes the majority, becomes equal. So we're here to celebrate everyone and their resources as positive as we can. And if you would like to see any of those, any topics, or if there's topics that you want us to bring up or talk about on the show, I'm going to go ahead and post one of our most important things here, our resources is our email address. And I'm going to go ahead and see that. You can see that right below. It's going to be breaking bread with Lavelle Voyage at gmail.com. I think I hit the wrong one, but it is breaking bread with Lavelle Voyage at gmail.com. And so without further ado, let's kick off this show. I'm excited about this show. We have some great topics that we're going to be talking about today. And I'm just really excited to bring us to the screen. So, all right, let's kick it off.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2022.
Yes. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome, everyone. There is Angela. Let's bring Angela on. Here we go. We got to get down. All right. Here we go. All right. There's everyone. Hello. Hello.
It's a party.
Yeah, it's a party. Happy New Year, everyone. How's everybody's New Year going so far? Let's start with Geeland. How is your New Year going? Everything going well?
Excellent, excellent. Moving forward with a lot of new, fresh fire in our spirit, and looking forward to this year.
Awesome. And where are you broadcasting from?
We're in Santa Cruz County in California.
Woohoo! All right. And over to Alex. Alex, how's your new year going so far? I know you got some exciting news. I know you were just talking with us about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Things have been going well. I finished up my certified specialist of spirits exam about 2 weeks ago, which was definitely the hardest test that I've taken so far in wine and spirits learning. Lots of stuff coming up this year, lots of engagement with my local Greenville, South Carolina community.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And you're broadcasting from South Carolina, correct?
I am. I'm in the upstate of South Carolina, so near the border with North
Awesome.
Carolina.
And, thank you for joining us. I know we all have to coordinate our times. We're all broadcasting on different parts of this great, beautiful land of ours. So thank you, Alex, for joining us.
All thanks.
Angela, hello, Angela. How are you?
Doing really great. Thank you. And thank you so much for pulling us all together. This community feel is awesome. Coming to you guys from Northern California, the Bay Area, born and raised, and just really, really grateful to connect right here. This is just beautiful. So thank you. And just enjoying the new year, new possibilities. Just getting information, getting together, getting everything out there.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Angela and Antonelli. Uh, are I can't I don't even I know you certify yourself as a home bartender, but I call you the doc of mixology, the mixologist queen, Antonelli. How's everything going, Antonelli?
Corey, you are too sweet. Everything is great here in New York. It is snowy. It was cold. It's still pretty bright out, which I'm happy about. The sun is shining, but all is well here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I got to know Antonelli last season during the springtime. She was one of the guests that helped kick off this podcast, and I'm so obliged to have her on with us as a supporting cast member and host with us. So thank you, Antonelli. Coming from the East Coast as well, so we got a few from the East Coast, a few from the West. I am coming from the great state of Oregon here in the Pacific Northwest, and we're having a great sunny day. We're enjoying a little bit of the sunshine, a break since we have a little break in the rain. But yeah, I'm just excited. My family's excited about the new year and spreading some love and cheer. And I'm excited about spreading love and cheer. And before we kick off the show, we have what we're going to call a special meditative reset, time of reset that is going to be shared by Guylan and her lovely mom, Marianne. And we're going to start doing this as part of the Breaking Bread crew as far as our openings and closing to each show. So, Guylan, if you and your lovely mom, Marianne, want to take it away.
All right, y'all. Well, a lot of us hold our breath, and if you really pay attention, you know what I'm saying because you catch yourself. So breath is our spirit, and it massages our soul and our organs. So I just thought maybe we could take a few deep breaths together in our nose and out our nose. Close your eyes and just center right in your heart chakra, and we're going to go right now. We're going to take a deep breath. I'm going to hold it for just that cleansing moment. I imagine glitter passing through my whole system and healing anything that's off center. And you breathe it out. And one more time. Believe it or not, now you're ready to rock and roll. And let's kick off this podcast.
All right.
Love it.
And I am so excited. I'm so stoked. And to kick off this episode of Breaking Bread with Lavelle Voyage, we have a special treat, like I said, from the doc of mixology, Miss Antonelli. Miss Antonelli, go ahead and take it away.
Where are the air horns? I need the air horns. That's right, Angela. So I am Antonelli. I am from Drunk Night In on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok. You can find me there. You can also go to drunknightin.com if you're more of a blogger to see all the recipes that Drunk Night In has shared. Drugnating is really about just inclusivity, making the home bartender or the future home bartender comfortable in elevating and creating high quality drinks. So whether that's from a classic, a riff of a classic, or something completely new, I got y'all with a good cocktail recipe. So today we are doing a Milano sour. It is a riff of the New York sour and also the whiskey sour, which is classic, dependable, easy to put together with just a few ingredients. But with the Milano sour, instead of floating red wine on the top like a New York sour is, you're going to have Campari, which sinks to the bottom of the of your drink. So you're going to have that nice layer, that nice color contrast. So let's get to it, okay? What you're going to need is only 5 ingredients. You're going to have your bourbon. I have 4 roses with me today. As you can see, I like it. Definitely recommend. We're going to have our Campari, which hold off on to the very end because we're going to add that in after we shake it up. Some simple syrup, an egg white. If you don't like egg whites in your cocktail, if you're a vegan, definitely swap it out for some aquafaba instead, which is just whipped chickpea juice, like that water in the can. So instead of that egg white, bring on that aquafaba. And of course, last, we're going to use some lemon juice. I'm going to freshly squeeze my lemon juice just because I think using fresh ingredients makes a difference in tasting cocktail. So I'm going to bring out my crystal clear shaker so you know what I'm putting in. And we're going to get shaken, okay? So I have my beautiful, nice jigger here. I'm going to use the 2 ounce and we're going to start putting in our bourbon, all right? Pop it open. And we're adding in 2 ounce of bourbon. Holla. Okay. Now we're going to add in our lemon juice. I have a small lemon and I'm just going to put it in here and just squeeze half a lemon. If you want to measure out exactly, I just made a mess. If you want to measure out exactly, it would be 3/4 of lemon juice. But I usually like to do a small half lemon. Okay, we added our bourbon, we added our lemon. Now we're going to add in some simple syrup. Making your own simple syrup is super, super simple. It is just sugar, water, make it low on the stove, have it simmer, stir occasionally, and there you have your simple syrup. It lasts for about 2 weeks in a very nicely sealed container. So if you like to make cocktails, you'll use it right up. I know when using simple syrup or just like being a home bartender and you're just being like conscious with your budget, using tools that or using ingredients you already have really helps. So we're just going to add in 3/4 of our sugar syrup. Okay. And then now we're going to add in the last recipe before we dry shake, which is our egg white or aquafaba. This does not provide any texture whatsoever. Any flavor whatsoever. It just provides texture. So that just makes it all foamy. We're going to do a dry shake, which means no ice in your shaker. So it should look like this. And the reason for a dry shake is to have that texture foam up from the egg white or aquafaba you are using. So you're going to nicely seal in your shaker and you're going to dry shake. Be careful because sometimes egg white can come out of the shaker and you don't want to get it all over you, right? So let's shake. I like to have a little music going on. Have a nice smile when you shake. And you see how it's getting nice and foamy. We're gonna want that foam in our glass. Okay, now we're gonna add in a large ice cube or your ice. So I'm just gonna put in 1 large ice cube in my shaker. Make sure it's nice and sealed. The shaker is very tricky. It can be very pretty, but it's very tricky. You gotta make sure it's sealed all the way. And now you shake. Ooh, Again, it's not sealed. Okay, we're gonna want that color, and then it's gonna look really nice with that Campari on the bottom of your glass. All right. And then we're going to pour into a nice rocks glass. You see that color? That's exactly what you want. And you see that foam from your aquafaba or your egg white. Now, the last step, which is crucial because of presentation, right? Who doesn't want a pretty drink? We're gonna have our Campari and a spoon, and we're gonna do a nice bartender's trick. If I could open up this bottle. Here we go. Let's measure it out just so we can keep the drink balanced. We're gonna do 1 ounce of Campari. Then you're gonna take your bar spoon and you're gonna put it at the edge of your glass. And you're going to disrupt the flow of your Campari so it nicely sinks to the bottom of your drink. All right. You should see the Campari settling in from when you poured it, going to the bottom of your drink. And there you have your Milano Sour. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. That's a good one.
That looks delicious.
Man, that looks insane. Oh, man. I gotta bring Angela on here. Let's bring her on. Woo! That was an amazing demonstration right there. I love it. I love it. Seeing everything come to mix. What about for any of you? What did you guys think?
I think I want to try it.
Very impressive.
Thank you. It's a really good drink, especially if you are trying to lean into the bourbon. I know not a lot of people like bourbon or darker spirits, but it is a fantastic sweet tart drink to have with like a Four Roses or a Buffalo Trace. Definitely recommend. Angela, I know you like that BT.
Oh man, thank you so much for sharing that. I love what you do. So thank you for mixing it up for us and demonstrating that. And don't forget, if you need to follow, Antonella, you can follow her at Drunk Night In. That's her IG handle. She does some amazing reels and demonstrations there. And I know she has a lot more in store for us as the upcoming episodes. We're going to share a lot more with Antonelli. So thank you for being a part of that. Anybody have any other drink concoctions that you just really dig that are out there right now? Angela, anything that's hitting your way? Are you a big drinker?
Well, I do love wine, and I have been really drawn lately to having sangria. I don't know, maybe I'm just ready for summer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just love the fruitiness, the flavors, and it's got a strength to it, but it's not overwhelming. Any kind of fortified wine works for me.
Cool.
Anything up that alley, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm game for pretty much everything. The sneaky thing that gets me though is vodka. So I try to not get overwhelmed with that because it's it tastes like nothing. So you can really overdo it. But everything else, I'm bring it on.
What about for you, Gilan and Marianne? What about for you? Do you have any? I know you don't really drink, right?
I'm a matcha green tea with a tab of agave and extra creamy oat milk for I run to that, and then we're tea connoisseurs. That's what we like. herbal
But we
tea.
can, you can,
I
you
drink
can
it every
virgin that,
day.
right?
Oh
Right?
yeah. I mean,
You,
I would love a virgin Bloody Mary with all the
yeah,
garnish and that
yeah.
beautiful tower of vegetables and the olive. And I mean, that would be, if I was to pick something, those would be like my absolute go-to.
That's
I
cool.
actually have a mocktail perfect for you. It is
Really?
a lemon rosemary tea spritz.
Oh,
I just
oh,
made it. It's one of my last drinks that I made for January.
oh.
You brew some green tea, have a lemon rosemary syrup handy. So just like the simple syrup I was talking about, just
Mm-hmm.
add in the lemon and rosemary, and stir it occasionally, and then you'll have like that syrup, grapefruit juice, and tonic water. It
Ooh,
looks like
sounds
a
yummy.
cocktail, and it is delicious.
That actually sounds pretty
Yeah.
cleansing for your system
Yes.
too, because anything rosemary and all that is a really
Lemon.
good, good for your lungs. Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
it sounds so yum. See,
Yummy.
that's the doc of mixology right there. Alex,
Yeah.
anything striking for you? Anything that's hitting for you right now?
Well, I mean, I've been on a tear of just learning about aromatized wines. So,
Uh,
like vermouths, all sorts of different aperitifs and aperitivos. I've
Interesting.
been
yeah,
diving really deep into that and making
grappa.
some.
Grappa.
Oh, yeah.
I love
Wow.
grappa. Man, uh, that is one of my. If we're talking about a kryptonite, besides bourbon, grappa is one of my things, and a limoncello. I love limoncello as a nice
Oh, yeah.
digestif. Or,
Mhm.
man,
Yeah.
uh, and
Alex, I have to ask you this question. Do you
Yeah.
refrigerate your vermouth?
I do because so in class they were talking about this, and if you leave your vermouth out, it loses all of its aroma. So you
Oh.
got to keep all your vermouth. Like my wife hates me because we have like 15 bottles of vermouth currently in our fridge.
that is awesome. That is awesome. Is there any other specific, if you're talking about other specific wines that you recommend for refrigerating? Like if you're talking about red wines, I know we get this controversial thing about red wines. Should we refrigerate or not refrigerate? What do you think about that, Alex?
I mean, I always try to put a little bit of a chill on my Beaujolais before I drink it because chilled Beaujolais
Absolutely.
is the best.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
white wine, like so I chill it, but then I usually bring it out of the fridge like 30 to 45 minutes before I plan on drinking it.
Yeah.
Because if you drink it cold, you lose all the aromatic intensity, and if it's like a high acid wine like a Riesling or a Sauvignon Blanc, then you just get acidity. So you need a little bit of
Right.
warmth. You can't drink it freezing cold.
Alex,
Right.
have you
And
noticed with, I was going to ask Alex, there was a wonderful 60-minute special on wine with climate change and how, because of the warming trends, many of the wines that were in France are now being moved to England.
Yes, actually, English sparkling wine is becoming super popular now because they're basically the same as champagne was 40 years ago.
Hard to believe England.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing where now where if you have dirt or an area where you can grow vines, it's basically okay. Let's try it, and then you'll discover, oh, I mean, that's how basically Oregon was discovered. They just decided, okay,
Yes.
let's try to plant things here and see if it grows. And they experimented with a few different varietals, and one didn't work, and some did. And they're like, wow, we struck a gold mine here. So I think now it's just all about discovery. That's the greatest thing about the wine industry today is what we're learning. We're all these new regions that are exciting that are popping up, and that kind of leads me into a great leeway and one of the topics that we're going to talk about today. One of the things that we strive here, as I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, is we try to support uh, all entities, including the small family businesses, including the minority businesses, the BIPOC, the LGBTQ, and as like I said, the women-led entities in a lot of industries. But one really struck struck me hard just this past week as I found out one of the trailblazers of winemaking, Miss Tara Gomez, and she actually
Oh, yeah.
farewell to Kita. It's a if you haven't seen this article, it's definitely a must if you get a chance to read it and learn about Tara. And they actually did on Som TV. They actually did a little short on Tara and her history with wine and her innovative ways. And what she's continuing to do as far as trailblazing, not just for if you're talking about the BIPOC world, but if you're talking about women in general. I've seen her with many other now strong women winemakers in that particular region of the Central Coast, as far as even Santa Barbara, that are coming together and making waves. And back in the day, you didn't really hear Santa Barbara as being a strong entity for wines. And now it is. It's making its niche and it's becoming more ever popular than ever. But Tara and she created Keto with her pop, and it's a really amazing wine label. And they're going to be closing their doors in early spring, this spring of 2022. And I had the fortune to actually interview Tara and her partner and wife, Maria, and they're a great couple, an amazing couple. But it's sad to see what you want as far as we're trying to embark on opening doors. We don't want to close doors, and I think that is one of the most important things is to open doors, and that's one thing that Tara has done. And so I just was really glad to have the chance to actually sit with Tara, like I said. And any of you want to chime in on something like this? This is an important type of discussion to talk about because, again, like I said, I thought what we're trying to do is create opportunity, and then for this to happen like this. And Tara has other projects. By all means, she her partner Moria are have what their secondary label called Communes to Dreams. But for Kita, which is one of the most, if you're talking about innovative, it was basically the first all Native American winery here in the States. So that's important when we are striving for something to keep. So is what is how does everybody feel about this? I mean, if anybody want to chime in, Angela, Gilan, Alex.
It's always sad, and I think what the unfortunate thing that I've been seeing with a lot of COVID stuff is that you see a lot of these smaller businesses getting their butts handed to them, and if they don't have the pockets to keep up with it, it's tough.
Yeah.
And hopefully, what we can do I mean, we are feeling all empowered now. I've noticed a lot of empowerment with the workers movement going on because of moving to remote work, and people are really taking advantage of seizing the opportunities that are for them. So hopefully in the next few years, we will see an uplift of just people getting out there and doing what they love and creating an inclusive environment for everybody.
I am a professional astrologer for 52 years now, and one of the things that we follow are the planetary trends. And you will be seeing right now, this particular year is very, very powerful changes. We have a lot of changes that are going on. Kind of hang on to your hats right now. But what I'd like to say in regards to what you just shared, these next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see more power for the people. We're going to see more opportunities for all of us, if you will, even us older ones, an opportunity to be more empowered, more able to really let go of old, striated belief systems that no longer are working. So we're seeing the tearing down. We're seeing a lot of civil unrest right now for a reason. And so it's when we think of the pandemic, if you compare it to the plague back in the 1300s, what came after the plague was the Renaissance. So we're seeing that tearing down of what no longer serves in a very dramatic way at times. And yet, out of that is going to be a cohesiveness, a coming together of all of us, just like what you're doing, Corey, today. This is absolutely wonderful. We didn't have that when I was growing up. And I'm part of the 60s generation where we are. When I graduated from high school, we were told we were the worst graduating class ever because we never obeyed any of the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to continue that that strive to keep on creating opportunity. I always say opportunity is huge. I always think about my little one, for
Mhm.
Angela, and for all of us, Gilan, that have kiddos, especially through these times right now. You're talking about how can we create the best world for them.
Yeah.
How can we create a world of color for them? I always hear that the battle between, oh, should we be colorblind or should we have more? I always say the more vivid that we see things, the more HD, Ultra HD, 4K that we could see things, the more we're gonna knock through these barriers. We
Yeah.
gotta really create that and really see things in that high def perception. We gotta look at it through all and see through everybody's own vision and see in everybody's struggles and where they're looking to reach out. And I think this is an important time. Um, and that's why I'm so glad to have all of you a part of this project, because I think what we're doing is we're creating a voice for those people.
Absolutely.
I mean, Angela, I mean, I
Yeah.
know it seemed like you wanted to chime in. Go ahead.
I love this idea about embracing the alternative. There's
Hmm.
alternatives that I think that a lot of people are willing to have their minds open to. Alternative medicine, alternative ways of looking at power structures, alternative, opportunities. Women, LGBTQ, and of all diversities. Race and gender and everything. It's something that we can embrace together, and there's no reason why we have to let, the authorities and the status quo that be tell us that we're wrong, because we
Right.
know that getting closer to nature, getting closer to what we feel intuitively is right, that's what we should listen to, I think, ultimately.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think what everybody, one of the things that I really enjoy about all of you that are on this panel, including Antonelli, I know she's having some problems with her camera. But one of the things that Alex creates and Angela creates and Guylaine creates is it's, I know Guylaine uses that word, the ohana, the family,
Yeah.
the broadness, reaching out to everybody's spectrum, whether you're educating about wine or you're educating about health. You're reaching it to everyone. You're not diagnosing it to just one sector. You're saying,
Right.
this is what I'm pouring out to you. I'm giving this to you right now. And I think, just for me, I think one of the things that I'm glad we have this discussion, especially with Kita, is um, I always say it's always our firm responsibility as if we're as ambassadors, and I continue to say this, and I sound like a broken record, but uh, I I I say this because I think it's important. The content that we provide for everybody, the more that we create for everyone, the more the reach it's going to go. If we create that content, those resources where we're providing what I call the pay it forward resources. Hey, this is what we got for you. Ask us if we need anything else. I mean, we're here. I think that's the important thing, and that's what I love about each and every one of you brings to the spectrum. You're doing something so wonderful, and I think it's important to keep those doors wide open instead of closing.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
assuredly.
I just have this vision when something comes to my heart that we're like a golden web, and we may be located on one side of the web and you're on another side and you're on, but we all come together no matter what direction you're traveling on your web, or it, the point is to envision this web of all of us working together, and like you're doing, Corey, bringing out these subjects that we need to all address. Like, we just have to encompass that we are all connected and we're on this beautiful web together, and we're just driving along in our little capsules, and we got to just
Right.
keep it so positive.
Absolutely. Anthony, I know you had a problem with your camera. Is there anything you want to chime in? I know this is an important subject, so
Yeah, this is very important. And thank you for bearing with me. I was tuning into the whole conversation
no.
while also trying to fix the camera situation. But yeah, it's just everything. I've resonated with everything y'all have said. It's important.
Yeah, and I think it just I think it goes for everything that we do, and we continue to do, whether, like I said, whether we're in the wine industry or the health industry or the cycling industry or
Hmm.
whatever our backgrounds, our specialties are. I think it's important to bring a lot of positivity, a lot of open the bring a broader area, bring that spectrum, open that spectrum up so everybody can benefit from it. Says, like I said, the more we have that, the more that we give opportunity, the more that people are going to have to be able to do and pursue things, and not, like I said, I think it was just a gut check. And I felt, as an individual, for what my mission was when I started this podcast, was not to have things like that happen, where you're going, you feel like, am I doing enough? Could I do more? Is there a way that I could do more? It's like, and I think, like I said, every one of you does something to reach everyone. You share something that's positive, that's needed, the voices that are needed, because there's still some people that are pinned up in their corners. They're still living a dark type world they're living in, and they need us. They need this reinforcement, this positive reinforcement. And so, yeah, I definitely appreciate what you all bring to the table. um, so I know one of the things that what we were concentrating on is what Gilan brought, when we were talking about putting this show together, was about breathing. We started off this this episode, with kind of resetting, breathing. A lot of times uh, we don't go back and think, am I breathing correctly? Am I working my core, and breathing correctly and getting it all in, taking it all in? And so I think that's very nice that we do that. And I know one of the things that Alex wanted to bring was on his special side of
Yeah.
breathing, was about wines in general. Let's go into that, Alex.
So, I mean, I think this is an apt metaphor. So, if you pour a wine and you just drink it, then you are missing 90% of the character that the wine has. But if you take your time and you examine and you appreciate and you look at what has been given to you by nature and take the time to appreciate it, then
That's a life quote right there, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
you got
That
something
is.
beautiful.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, you talk about, if you talk about the whole breathing process with wine, what you have in your glass, you're talking about just the beginnings, where it's coming from, the origins, the 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 if we're talking about the weather of that, wherever that wine is coming from. And it's just a beautiful thing to actually slow it down. That's the one thing I really appreciate about wine. Even what Antonelli did with putting the drink concoction together. A lot of us don't know how to use our hands, or don't know how to create. We do everything fast. I need the fastest thing. I need to throw my thing in the microwave and get it. And it was so cool to see, even the spritzing of the lemon juice. You want to see that. That's important, because if you slow that down and you look at all the molecules from the lemon juice, and you're going, that's what's going into that glass. That's raw lemon. That is cool. I want to go home and do that. I want to do that. And you can probably hear my kiddo in the background going crazy. He saw Antonelli's segment. He's like, yeah, I want that too. But yeah, I mean,
But
it
then watch
is,
the mess it makes, and then it just goes all over the place.
it is just really cool to see when you're able to put things like that together. And Alex just said it best with the words that he brought into it. If you just slow it down and you swirl it and you smell it and you look at it and you take it all in, it is just it. You just kind of it's beside yourself. You kind of go, "Whoa,
So
that is awesome."
if you think of alcohol, another name for alcohol is spirits, right? And
Yeah.
so in spiritus is a Latin phrase where we inspire when we breathe in that breath of life. And so it's not only breathing in through our lungs, but it's inspiring us, from a theological, if you want, from a metaphysical, spiritual perspective. So the wine and how beautiful this cup. Forgive me, I'm new here, so
No,
to see this
perfect.
amazing thing of combining spirit with spirit and breathing and being able to wake up, and 90% of stress of disease is stress related. And so whether it's wine, whether it's meditation, whether it's breathing, this is such a wonderful concoction of different people coming together to provide a way out, a way up too. Beautiful.
Well, and what was
Absolutely.
our cocktail
Beautiful.
made with? It was made with whiskey, which comes from the Gaelic word eau de vie, which means water of life.
See, that's awesome.
I love
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Wait a minute. I've been
Was that
reading
on your
Outlander.
test?
How come I never heard that yet?
Yeah,
That
whiskey
is amazing.
literally translates to water of life.
I love it.
Wow. You learn
Well, there's a lot of
something new
mention
every
of
day.
whiskey in that book, so that's awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love how what you described in the spirits and the wines and everything, like taking the time to take in the character, the uniqueness, the beauty of that is the same with how we should take in people, because everybody has their own gifts, everybody has their own specialness. So it's a very good, way of approaching everything. Just take it all in, take in what everybody has to offer.
And everything,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Even-
everything needs breath,
breath, right?
air.
Right. We are born
Absolutely.
the first time with
So true.
we inspire when we're first born, and we expire when we die. So it's the first
Right.
thing we do is breath.
Absolutely. And
Yeah, expire.
and you don't really realize how important that is to take that breath. You know what I mean? Is to actually look at it and kind of
Yeah.
like go, I just gotta and usually that's what they say, like, hey, if your kiddo is going crazy, just take a step back and take a breath. I'll never forget I actually did a parent boot camp before my son was born. And they're like, yeah, just remember they're gonna go crazy, they're gonna do this, they're gonna create messes. Just take a step back and just breathe. And I was like, that is so essential,
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like I said, it's life. It's life, and I think that's pretty important. Um,
And
so
that's
yeah,
what meditation does. It allows you to pause, to breathe before you speak, before you say anything.
Right.
It's
Mental
that
health.
moment
right.
to choose wisely what you're going to say.
Yeah.
So I love what you brought, Marianne and Keelan and Alex brought to the whole topic of life, of breath of life, and even what Antonelli brought with her mixed drink. What about you, Angela? As far as I know, your specialty background is the whole vegan education,
Yes.
the purity.
Mhm.
Can you go into a little bit on that?
Sure. So I've been taking the opportunity this month, especially because we kind of coin it as Veganuary, which doesn't mean everybody automatically goes vegan for the month, but it's about expanding. Like you expand your breath, you expand your mind, and you expand your knowledge. And it's all about that. And I think it's a really great wellness tool to expand the possibilities of how you can go forward in a year that could be healthier, more open-minded, and just kinder, and just you reap a lot of benefits. I mean, one could say it's almost a very self love type of thing to go more plant based, because there's so many benefits with your mental health, your physical health, and environmental. I mean, it all is tied in, just like you talked about that golden web. It's all tied in, very
So
much
true.
so. And I feel like it's a very powerful way and a non-toxic way. I mean, you don't need a prescription drug, for this. You expand what you're willing to take in and experience. And a lot of us, our consciousness is just there waiting to be tapped, like our consciousness of,
Right.
what we can do to heal ourselves, to feel better, to feel well. And there's just some really great tips that I love to offer and to share with people. As much as I'm learning it, I'm sharing it. So that's my goal, is to learn, to share, and hope we all can enjoy it together.
I love it. I love,
Thank
and me being a big Disney fan, I just got to say this. All of you, when you all were talking and preparing and just sharing, the one thing I felt was I felt like Simba being on Pride Rock and Mufasa's talking to me about the circle of life. This is
Yeah.
about the circle of life, and I cannot use that
God.
terminology so like it's so specific to what we talk about today. Is you talk about everything, and the whole circle of life, how we engage, how we act, how we pay it forward, what we do when we are with others, and how they see us or how they perceive us and how we do things. Because the more positive we are, the more we reach out, the more people are going to go, I could start doing that too. And it's so essential. It's just like I said, it's about breathing. And uh, and I think it's a good time. I would love to hear Antonelli as well. But one of the things that I found out with breathing too was um, one of the reasons why I became a cyclist is my dad had diabetes. Um, he passed away from diabetes back in 2016. And one of the lessons that I learned was not just to live life to the fullest, but to actually appreciate your abilities and what you could do and utilize your resources for the good, for the best. And one of the things that, even as I became a parent, I found that whenever I couldn't get to church spiritually, uh, I found that being on the bike or getting in the pool was my sanctuary, was my church, was my time to reflect and breathe. And that's one of the most appreciative things that I found was not just my ability to continue this as I'm going to be celebrating 50 in the next coming months, but was one of the greatest lines that I read in a book, in a cycling book, was I never got the opportunity to see. You never get the opportunity to see what you see in a car, but by a bike, you see the whole view, the whole. You're seeing the whole perception of everything. You can look around. You're in the elements. You're in the natural elements. You're feeling the wind. You're feeling the rain. You're feeling the heat. You're out there and you're breathing this life. And so that is one of the things that's important for me. And that was one of the things that we as a family did to actually keep our sanity through COVID and the peaks of COVID. Was we actually started doing, my wife had this idea of, hey, let's do virtual races. And I was like, virtual races? They're like, yeah, we could do virtual races. You could do them in any mileage. And, there's a couple of organizations that if you do a certain race, like Australia, they'll actually give you, according to the mileage that you do, whether it's 30 or 300 miles, they'll actually give you a virtual map of where you're at. So if you do 10 miles one day, then they'll actually give you a point of reference of where you actually are in Australia. So you can actually feel like you're accomplishing something virtually and see, hey, I did 10 miles and this is where I'm at, and So one of the things that we just calculated recently is we found out that we have done over 10,000 miles, whether it was cycling, hiking, walking, or running. We actually did that in the 2 years um, that we were participating, and we're still kind of still participating today. But that was something that, like I always say, it's important that you could get out and move and just take that breath of life with your family and enjoy the surroundings outdoors naturally. You don't have to be inside, but it's just, I think it's important. There's always, where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that's important to kind of show too. So,
I was going to
Antoinette,
add on that,
yeah,
Corey, about
yeah,
your bicycle, how you love it so much more than a car, but also you're channeling your internal streams, because people don't realize when you're stagnant, sitting at home, sitting in a car, your internal airways and your blood become stagnant. And stagnant water, it's stinky. So think about all the stinky stuff hidden in all your corners. But when you get out on your bike, or you go walk or dance or do yoga or any type of movement, you're getting that little stream going, and you're like
yeah.
getting all that toxins going. So your bike thing is the best thing you could have done for you and your family.
Absolutely.
Sometimes my wife, because she doesn't see me for 3 or 4 hours, she's like, keep on doing it. Keep on doing it more.
Right.
It's her sacred time too.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. How about for you, Antonelli? What do you find, especially because I saw some photos and some reels where you're at in your neck of the woods. It's been snowing and stuff. So, what do you do to actually get that breath for yourself?
I really do take advantage of the technology that we have. And like, for example, this itself, like I could socialize with people from across like all parts of the country. But to regain that like self-control, that like self-purpose, like I really like yoga, and I use
Mhm.
technology like YouTube, free resources like YouTube, or I pay for classes because I do want to support yoga instructors and people who have been out of work. And like I try to kind of give back in a way, but also like, there's classes that are going on, and I like fitness. I like to keep moving like you do with cycling. So
Mm.
I try to do yoga. I try to go to the gym, do that group classes safely, given the state of the world. But that's when I feel most at tune with myself. And even with yoga, because yoga really makes you meditate in a way,
Mhm.
having that time to yourself and to connect with yourself is really important. So I do recommend Headspace. I'm really big on technology.
Yeah.
Not paid,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I love, the free resources that you can have. It's right at your fingertips, that you can really take the time to take care of yourself in a fast paced, especially in New York City.
Mhm. Right.
Have that time to yourself to slow down.
I did want to
Absolutely.
add, I'm 73 and I still belong to a dance troupe, and I do Qigong and yoga, and I'm a meditation teacher. And just keep moving. No matter if it hurts, just
Right.
keep moving.
Proof.
Yeah.
Okay, Mama
Yeah.
Mary,
Right there.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
it, Mama
I'm
Mary.
51 and I do yoga, and I embrace the outdoors, and I make sure I get enough sleep, and you just eat well. Like Angela says, just try a bunch of different things that you've been afraid to try. But I mean, I actually, you get this sense of like, oh my gosh, what took me so long?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Also, if you're watching this, like, they look fantastic. Okay, I did not think there were 50 in their 70s.
No,
Okay,
not at
they look
all.
phenomenal.
Really great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And that's because they put themselves first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we breathe deep, believe it or not. I have this, I was gonna save it to closing, but this is so right on par where we are. But I don't know if you all wake up in the middle of the night, maybe between 2 and 3:30, and you lay there and you're just like, crap, I can't go back to sleep. Well, I call it the 888. So you're laying in bed, you're gonna breathe in 8 seconds through your nose, you're gonna hold it for 8 seconds. You're going to control that breath for 8 seconds out your nose, and you're going to do it 8 times. And I almost could bet you $100 each time you will fall asleep by the 8th cycle. And that
Oh,
is one of the best anxiety, go back to sleep, don't pop a pill, or I want to
Yeah.
eat this and that. Use your breath. That's your pill.
So
I love
eight,
that.
I
eight,
actually
eight,
want to
eight,
shout
eight, eight.
out. Yeah, I want to shout out that I have a day job. It's in corporate America, big whoop. But they do take the time to like set out 30 minutes at least twice per week to do some breath work, right? So they
Good,
actually have
very good.
someone who does guided breath work so you can ease stress in your day because they realize the importance of, yeah, we're breathing, but like purposeful breathing, right?
Yeah.
For those 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Right.
And I really do appreciate those. Yeah, purposeful breathing because yeah, that's what that's like a secondhand like or just like a second nature thing that we
Yeah.
do because we need to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
But doing that 888 for example exercise has benefits to it, and in those 30 minutes you come out with so much more even though it's just breathing.
Yeah.
Like it's relaxing, it helps a ton.
You have to learn to
So I just
quiet
shout
your
out to
voice. Yeah, like a lot of people just don't realize you can quiet all those voices in your head with breath. Like that council can stop talking with
big
breath.
snap. Big snap to you, girl. I can't. I have so many. I went like that's all in my head.
I know.
Yeah.
All good.
Again, it's really nice to get everybody's perspective or their voice. This is what I do. This is how I handle this. And I think that's important because there's somebody out there that's watching or could be watching that could go, oh man, I never thought I could do that. You know, even the 888 thing, and the different aspects of what we talk about. Somebody's going to learn. You know, I think this is one of the greatest things that I always get from doing this podcast with all of you. And now that we've grown, it's awesome. It's even awesomer. Um, but one of the things that I love is when I hear people going, you know, I don't have any idea of what Alex was talking about, but it was I learned so much, and so maybe I'm gonna try it. You know, I'm gonna take that back. And I think that's the thing is you cannot have a relation with some of the subjects that we talk about, but you get an appreciation for it, and you kind of go, "Oh, maybe I'm gonna start doing that, or I could try that." We're opening doors. We're giving people opportunity, and I think that is the keyest thing that we can do by all of you. And I want to thank you all again for sharing your time because time is so important nowadays. We talk about time and our energy and our breath. But I really appreciate each and every one of you and what you give and what you give to the people out there when we are separated, when you are doing your own things. It's important. You're doing some amazing work. So thank you. Um, I'm getting a little bit of like wind noise. Can anybody hear that wind noise? Or is it just me?
I hear it, but I don't know where it is coming from.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from. But anyway, I just I know we're going to be winding down our time, but did anybody else have anything that they wanted to bring to the table before we conclude our podcast for today?
I just wanted to say I'm passing the torch to my daughter, to all of you who are younger, and it gives me hope. It really does. I think to see all of you kind of assuming that mantle of responsibility socially and otherwise, and to bringing all your life experiences and sharing it in this forum, which we never had growing up. And so it's such an exciting new world. And I am so proud of this one. And she and all of you are reflecting a future that I'm really looking forward to being a part of.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else? I see eyes.
Oh my
Anybody
God.
else?
I mean, I always just through my 20s, being a millennial, everybody was like, "Well, millennials are just destroying everything in the world." And I always answered back, "No, we're just making the world a little bit more inclusive and a little bit better."
Yeah. Yep. Very good.
Well, to add to that, I don't think millennials are destroying the world. If they think that, they don't know anything. Like, they don't see the world what they actually is, right? Because the world
Right.
needs
But they
help.
thought that about baby
Yeah.
boomers too.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
Got you, Alex. I got you, Alex.
I always say that about millennials. Man, no, just kidding. But it was what a great show. Thank you all, like, again, for sharing your voice, your resources. And just before we go, I just want to let everybody know next month, believe it or not, on Valentine's Day, and that's the way it worked out because my dad brain and everything else, but we all agreed on it. We're going to be coming back live for our next episode, celebrating not just Valentine's Day, but we are going to be celebrating an anniversary, 1 year anniversary of the Breaking Bread podcast, and celebrating one of the most, what I say, if you're talking about a celebration that needs to be noted, is Black History Month. We talk about, you know, everything that we could do to celebrate community and diversity and equality and inclusion, being inclusive. We are going to be going back to the roots of where Breaking Bread started back last year, back in 2021. And that was my goal. And when I first started, I had a goal to try to sit with and share as many stories as I could. And I end up within a 3 month span sharing over 63 ambassadors in a 3 month span. So I was really excited about that. And we're going to bring some of our favorite guests back and some new ones celebrating. That's going to be February 14th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. And I know everybody's going to be doing their romance, their Al Green thing. They're going to be getting down, getting jiggy with it as well. But we're all going to be sharing our time, sharing our influences. I think Antonelli is going to come back with a special reel for that celebration as well. But again, thank you all for your support. Anybody else want to say anything before we sign off?
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
I
guys.
just want to remind us one thing. We are entering the year of the tiger. So everybody has to remember this is a yang energy. This is where you have to find your own enthusiasm again, and then from there ripple it out and just stay grounded. Remember, tigers, they're very fiery, but they also are very into covering everything that's important to themselves. So survival, start from inside. Remember your breath. And the year of the tiger, this is going to be a phenomenal year for everybody. And just remember, your belief system follows what you tell yourself. We listen to ourselves. People don't realize that. So keep that chatter under control.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Period.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Yes, I
Very
love it.
On wellness,
I love
yes.
it. And now we're going to end with our goodbye reset, a reset with Guylaine and her lovely mom, Marianne. So go ahead and take it
Okay,
away.
y'all. All right, so maybe we can implement our 888 right now. And so I was always taught to inhale through your nose, hold it, and exhale through your nose. So we're going to hit this off right now. Let's take a deep breath together. And we're sending you all kinds of love and light. Remember, your heart is filled with magic, and don't ever forget it. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. All right, everybody. Wish you all well. Have a safe and enjoy until we see each other again. Until we see you next time, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and keep breaking bread with all your families and friends. Cheers.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Woo.
I should have
Yay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. I'm sorry.